Hi, welcome back to Dallas Twang. I'm Dave. We got a one chord groover here today. We haven't had a one chord jam in a while. It's C7. Okay, it's a dominant 7 chord. Okay, and that's it. I'll have several minutes of that loop that I just played over at the end of this lesson for you to practice with. The way we're going to go about this is two main goals here today. The first is to just, get more familiar, warm up with this C Mixolydian scale. Okay. If you're not too familiar with that, this will be a great starting point for you for that. You don't have to worry about, how you're going to address every chord in a song and stuff. We're just going to stay on that one chord. You can do a lot over one chord, you'll see. And then the other thing is a couple of maps of arpeggios, one in this position and one down here. Okay, and I'll put the diagrams up for that in just a second. And then, a little bit on just kind of putting it together and some phrasing ideas and stuff, and it's kind of the usual system that we use on the channel. So let's start with a little warm up on this C Mixolydian. Now, there's more than one way to, I guess, kind of define, what Mixolydian is in terms of how it's derived from a key and so forth. But what you end up with is a major scale with a flatted seventh. Okay, so you end up with this sound, this sequence of notes. I'm really hanging out when I get to the flat seventh, right? And that's a good way to, if you want to really, acclimate your ear to Mixolydian, kind of, roam around in that scale, but really hold on to the note when you get to that flat seventh. Okay. The second little piece there I was doing, well, I'll leave that on for a second, was playing some more, kind of blues scale type stuff, but going out of my way to emphasize that flat seven both here and there. Okay, so you can just really get your ear dialed into that Mixolydian sound, that mode. And the other piece, and that's a routine right there. Just use this track to just get familiar with your Mixolydian in a couple of different positions, right? And then kind of moving back and forth between those, mixing in some pentatonic stuff and some blues scale stuff here and there. And that's that's not like that's not just some rudimentary thing that you can drop later and move on to something more advanced. That system is how a great deal of modern guitar is played, right? And what we just said. So don't sell yourself short on that. Spend time just on that routine right there, and see if you don't just make some more connections with things that you're already familiar with. And hey, I can put this major pentatonic in there too, right? So there's a lot of rabbit holes we could go down. We're going to stay on track here. So the plan was introduce the Mixolydian, get a routine for practicing that, mix it in with the blues scale, and then a couple of these arpeggio shapes. And then, of course, we'll do the same thing with them. After you get comfortable with them mechanically, you integrate them into the system that we had just established. Now you've got a multi-dimensional approach to playing over this simple groove. And that's a really cool effect when you become comfortable and fluent with it. So here's the first one. Let's start up here on the 8th fret. Now, see, it's labeled C11. Don't worry. It's not, if you've never played an 11 chord, or the 11 just sounds like something that you just want to avoid, I don't blame you, frankly. But let me unpack it for you and hopefully demystify it a little bit. We're not going to spend a lot of time on theory here, but here's the long and the short of it. In this pattern, I'm just going up from this root every other note, and I just keep going, okay, past the next octave. So I'm going root, skip the second, third. Sorry, I played the. Let me start over. I'm trying to over-explain this. Root, third, fourth, 5. There's that basic C major triad, right? Root, third, 5th, flat 7th. Okay, then if I kept going one note at a time, I'd get to the root again, C. But I want to skip. I want to do every other note, the odd numbered notes. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay, then that would be 10. Also happens to be the third. Don't get hung up on that. Keep counting up. And then 11. Okay, so now you can play an 11, dominant 11 arpeggio. Maybe when you started off today, you didn't think you were going to be doing that. But that's how simple the theory really is. Every other note. Okay, now when I kept going up here, I kind of just went back to a 7th arpeggio. I'm just doing the 5th, 7th, root, 3rd. I mean, it's the same. I'm just, I'm not getting up to those. I'm not including every, the other 9 that's up here and so forth. Don't worry about that right now. That diagram, if you kind of go up and then walk it back down to here, here's a really good routine for this. And I'll do it with the track. I'll do it kind of slow. I'm going to do it a couple of times, and then I'll give you some space. I'm ending on that note. I'll talk about that in just a second. Okay. Now, one thing I also want to point out, every time I play a third in this, I'm playing the major third. On the blues scale, you got that minor pentatonic sound. And that's okay. That works in a blues context with this. But when I'm doing this single note stuff, more with the Mixolydian stuff, I'm always playing that major third. And alternating between those in your arrangement of your soloing sounds really cool. And it's just kind of a gimme because you don't have to, there's nothing really to analyze there. You're just using, that scale part of the time and Mixolydian part of the time. Now, without picking this apart too much, here's that pattern again. I'm ending on this note. G is the note. It's the 5th of the C triad. And that's just We love the fifth on this channel. Let's play that one more time. You see how rich those tones are all the way through that, and then ending on that fifth. And that's a good one to hang out on, as well as the flat seven and third. So when I opened up that little introduction solo, I went, okay. So I put a blues phrasing, into that real mechanical shape that I just showed you, right? And I want that to be an example of how you stylize, something like that. So I slid in. I don't remember exactly what I did after that, but I'm doing some blues scale stuff, right? I'll do it again. Okay, and you'll find your own style. I'm just giving you I'm not showing you what to play. I did with that arpeggio, but I'm showing you where to look for what to play. You practice these mechanics that I'm showing you, and you're gonna follow your own, musical voice and language to the notes that feel good to you. And when you catch those, repeat it, right? Kind of drive that in. Oh, I like how I landed right there. Do that like 3 times consecutively, and get the muscle memory of it, but also just internalize it, okay, in your body. Now, I got another diagram down here. It doesn't contain as many, it's not as elaborate as that 11 thing. It's basically just a 7th arpeggio, the one that looks like this. Now, the root's not the lowest note in this pattern, right? It's up here, but you can still go down just like you can go up, through a scale or an arpeggio. So it goes. There's a C7 shape for you. Okay, and we don't have to, all the same things that we talked about up here as far as to how to apply that, we can, apply that down here, all right? You can make I do like, kind of truncating these arpeggios and coming up with my own, like when I learn them out of books or, from diagrams, I'll take little sections of them and try to make phrases that I can repeat, let's see. I'm just kind of showing you my process, right? I'll practice them, very, all the way up and down, just kind of just how the diagrams are. But then very quickly, and possibly quickly, I'll move into, little portions of them that I can shape into more riffs. So that's just kind of up and down right there. I'll do a... Sometimes I'll put, little walking notes in between. But in my mind's eye, I'm seeing those other shapes. okay. Don't want to run away with it there at the end. But that's just a little, view of like what my process is if I just keep going, right? Now I have, you know, I my hand is very familiar with these moves. Actually, when I slow them down, I make more mistakes sometimes when I'm showing them to you all, right? Because I'm not used to doing that as much. I'm not used to doing them sort of, as exactly, right? I'm just kind of moving around doing a lot of little bends and things, whatever. Today I tried to really, give you a couple diagrams and give you some stuff that you can really analyze, and then, you know, stylize it yourself. Okay. So when I'm playing that stuff like I just did, it's more just to show you kind of the idea, the concept of how to apply it, right? Not necessarily like you should play these notes and these licks or whatever, right? So hopefully this really adds something to your, kind of blues feel and this kind of, hanging out on a chord and just grooving on it. You can do so much solo wise, even over one chord. That's another thing that hopefully this lesson conveys to you. So let me know how it goes for you. Look forward to hearing from you. Talk to you next time.